Hey, so we got this Empava tub on Amazon, and it looks awesome, but had to make some modifications to get it installed in here. So we had an outlet already because we had a built-in tub before. We ripped that out, and then we had to rerun the lines so that they were as such, so that there is a cold and a hot and a drain pretty close together, that this can be concealed underneath the tub. These are 3/8 inch angle stops, so I had to buy a 1/2 inch adapter because there's a 1/2 inch female threaded hot and cold line underneath the tub here. And there's also a ground wire, a green ground wire, in addition to the plug. So I'm going to tie in the ground wire to the ground of this plug. Now, ask an electrician. I'm not an electrician, so hopefully that's not a problem, because I'm just going to tie in basically that ground wire to this ground wire and to the plug here. And I'm not working on a live outlet. This is actually a GFI protected outlet, and I have tripped the GFI so that way I can touch the outlet without getting electrocuted. So yeah, this is kind of where I'm starting. I'm going to run that ground wire first. I'm going to install this piece of baseboard behind the tub, so it'll be easier for me to access that and not have to do it later. Okay, so I propped the tub up on a stool just so that I could get access to the underside of the tub. And I've already cut free, they were zip tied to the bottom here, the hot and cold lines, as you can see, 1/2 inch. And then the drain line, which goes in to drain, as well as the ground wire here. And that came off of the pump motor that's gonna, for the jetted part of the tub. And here's the power cord, which I'm also gonna cut free and remove. Now, I heard that you should be tightening connections also before installing it. I'm just gonna put it in first, since I'll have access to the underside after, just see if it leaks at all. And then if so, I'll see where it's leaking and then tighten those connections. But for now, I think I'll have enough play in there to still work on the underside of the tub. So the plumber that installed this line set put in a 3/8 inch compression line. And apparently after a couple trips to Home Depot and the plumbing supply store, they don't make an adapter that goes from 3/8 compression to a 1/2 inch male threaded line that I need in order to get the hot and cold water line threaded onto the water outlet. So I ended up buying a 1/2 inch fitting, a shark bite fitting, and then fitted it on the PEX line myself with this shark bite removal tool. So I was able to take off the old 3/8 inch compression fitting and put in this new 1/2 inch line. So looks like it's not leaking right now, so I'm happy with that, and I'm going to go ahead and make the rest of these connections. So I'm going to pull this a little closer so that I can get all the way in. I'm going to put in my electrical connection. Here's the plug. If you didn't see it before, I think it's got some kind of GFI protection on it also. And then I'm going to put the drain into here, and we'll see how it goes. So now you can see I moved the tub a little closer, so I'll be able to connect those fittings down below. And I also already connected the ground wire, like I said, to the outlet right there. And I notched this with a little multi-tool, a little vibrating multi-tool, so that I would put less stress on that wire. I didn't want to pinch it in there. So that'll hopefully provide a little channel for it. And yeah, I'll put some Teflon tape on the 1/2 inch fitting, and then we'll screw it all in and test it for leaks. So my plumber, in his infinite wisdom, also Left this as 1.5" drain line over here, this black drain, instead of 1.25", which is what I need. And to be clear, I did have this tub and he had access to it. It was sitting right here so that he could check the sizes of everything and confirm before the installation of all this plumbing. So time to find a new plumber, I guess, right? But anyway, so I'm going to use a reducer. So I'm going to basically use this pipe. It's kind of like under what you get underneath a kitchen sink. And I'm going to put like an 1.5" adapter to 1.25" on here. And so what that's going to look like is, let me just get this going here. Okay, so that's what that's going to look like. So that way, when I screw it in, this should be nice and watertight. And then I'm going to put the drain line, this. So I did the same kind of deal there, like almost like what you would do underneath the bathroom sink. And I'm going to stick that in there, tighten this down. Oop. Well, anyway, I'm going to do it with both hands, but you get the idea. And then I'm going to stick the other side into there and snug that up. So that's what it's going to look like at the end. Hopefully you can kind of see that. And then hopefully that'll be it, and we'll be able to connect the water and be good to go. So I'm wrapping the shower head with Teflon tape. Always make sure you're wrapping it clockwise, so that way when you're screwing on the threaded part, then it will tighten and it won't just peel the tape off. So always go clockwise. Join me for the moment of truth here, where I'm going to turn on the water and hope that it does not leak. So here's one. Whoa. Whoa. Shit. So you probably want to put the faucet in first, otherwise you'll experience what I just did in a massive water fountain coming out of the top. So it's just a push fitting, so I think you should just be able to plug that in or screw in. Oh, this screws in.
Am I gonna get electrocuted?
No, you're good.
You sure? Am I on video saying this?
Yeah, you are.
Cool.
All right, let's try this again and see what happens. Hopefully we don't geyser this thing. Okay, that's better. It's probably because the water was on. There we go. Okay. So, cold. Okay, looks like we're looking good. I have to test the drain still, but for that I'm just gonna have to set the tub level, let it drain properly. Oh, there's the wife. And we'll see how it goes. So now it's all done. Looks like it worked out finally. And there's the finished product. All right, so I figured gotta fill up the tub, gotta run the jets here to show you how it works. So got it filling up now. Make sure that all the holes are covered before you turn on the jets, because that's going to be a mess if not. And then this, I believe, turns on the shower head, so you can use this instead if you wanted to. Let's try the jets. Yeah, that one's a little boisterous over there. But yeah, you get the idea. Very cool. So I will say, check your connections for sure. Check them before you put the tub in place, because I had a big leak when I turned on the jets underneath, and that was from a kind of a plastic screw, huge like nut that was not tight. It was loose. And so after I got that fixed, the drain was leaking, and I was like, oh, it's got to be my drain connection where I kind of cobbled together that drain pipe and whatever. Nope, it was their factory connection. So just make sure you check it. I'm going to show you right now because I couldn't figure it out at first, and I'm like, I called the company, and they're like, oh, use some epoxy on it, and I'm like, on the outside of it, how's that going to plug the leak very well? And well, let me show you what I'm talking about first. So, this drain tube, this is actually the other end of it. That was, it was factory mounted over here. But I just wiggled it and it was loose, so it came right off. And the adhesive was nothing to write home about. So anyway, now, oh, and let me show you that nut that I tightened. That was, I believe that was this nut right here. That was loose. And I cranked on it myself with my hand. I tightened it with my hand first, and then I got it with a pipe wrench the rest of the way. But yeah, so this drain connection, it wasn't leaking terribly. It was dripping, but I mean, had I left it, it would have been a lot worse. And if I had it to do over again, I might even just take the tub outside, put it up on like a table or something eye level, fill it with enough water to get into the jet area, if you have a sturdy table, because it's going to be heavy, and then just run it and see what happens up there. Plug it in with an extension cord and see if you get any leaks. So that way you've got a easy way to access the underside of the tub, because when it's all connected, I mean, I could disconnect it and do all that, but I'm like, you know what? I've got the electrical all hooked up in there, that ground wire, and I didn't feel like disconnecting everything. I tried to undo the ground screw and it was in there pretty tight. So I'm just gonna glue this on there with epoxy resin, so that way it should hold up very well, and it'll be better, probably better than what they would have sent me from the factory had they done it more correctly, but still sloppy. So just want to give you a heads up in case you buy this tub or any other jetted tub. Good luck.